President.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that the votes and proceedings of Thursday, the 7th day of March 2024 be approved. Those in support of the motion as moved and seconded say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Any further observation should be written and sent to the Clerk of the Senate. Announcement. This is to notify distinguished senators that the Senate People's Democratic Party caucus, PDP caucus meeting is scheduled to hold as follows. Wednesday, the 13th day of March 2024, venue Senate Hearing Room 4.31. Time will now be 5 p.m. prompt. Signed by the Civil Senator Abamuru, the Minority Leader. This is to notify the Civil Senators that the meeting of the Southern Senators Forum is rescheduled to hold as follows. Wednesday, the 13th day of March, 2024. Venue, meeting room 321. Time, 2 p.m. Prompt. Signed by distinguished Senator Mbigi Barinada. On Sunday, the 10th day of March 2024, was the birthday of the Civil Senator Sunday Steve Karimi. So on behalf of the Nigerian Senate, the 10th Senate, we want to wish Senator Karimi a very happy birthday in arrears, long life, prosperity, and many more years of service to our fatherland in good health. Congratulations. This is from the Office of the Deputy Clerk of the Senate, in charge of administration, notification and invitation. It is with a sense of loss and total submission to the will of God Almighty that I respectfully notify you and the entire Nigerian Senate of the demise of my beloved mother, Mama Salome Paulina Oteyagada Ni Ochai, who passed on Saturday, 20th January 2024, at the age of 83 years. I wish to respectfully invite you and the entire Senate to have funeral ceremonies, which are scheduled to hold from Thursday, 11th to Friday, 12th April 2024, at Ipari Otukpa, Egu Orogam, respectively, in Ogadiba. Yes, I'm sure Ogadibo, rather. Ogadibo local government area of Benue State. However, activities to commence her burial will commence on Wednesday, the 3rd day of April, 2024, with a requiem mass at the Holy Family Catholic Church Live Camp Abuja by 6:30 p.m. Particularly those that may not be able to attend at Benue State are invited to join this Holy Mass on the 3rd day of April 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at the Holy Family Catholic Church Live Camp Abuja. Distinguished senators Please accept the assurances of my highest consideration. Signed, Agada Rawlings Emmanuel, Deputy Clerk, Administration, Senate. So on behalf of the Senate, we want to also condole him and members of his family and pray Almighty God to accept our soul in heaven. Amen. This is from the Clerk, the Senate, Office of the Clerk of the Senate, addressed to His Excellency, the Civil Senator Glossy Aquavio. Notification of the demise of Mr. Benedict Efeturi, former Clerk of the Senate, 2010 to 2014. Former Deputy Clerk to the National Assembly, 2014 to 2017. I wish to notify Your Excellency, the Senate President, and distinguished senators of the demise of Mr. Benedict Efeturi, who died on 5th of March 2024 after a brief illness. Mr. Efeturi acquired various educational qualifications, including a bachelor's degree in political science and a master's degree in international law and diplomacy from the University of Lagos. He worked in various capacities in the civil service of the Federation before joining the National Assembly service, where he rose through the ranks until he was appointed as Clerk of the Senate in March 2010, a position he held until he was appointed Deputy Clerk to the entire National Assembly in 2014, and he thereafter retired in 2017. The funeral arrangements will be announced by the family. I respectfully request the Senate to observe a minute silence in his honor. Please accept, distinguished Senate President, the assurances of my highest consideration. This is from our brother Chinedu Francis Akubweze, Clerk of the Senate. Distinguished colleagues, having heard his request and prayer, is it the wish of the Senate that we observe a minute silence in honor of the demise of our former clerk? Those in support say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. But we rise for 1 minute silence. By the soul of the former clerk of this hallowed chamber, Mr. Benedict Efeturi, rest in perfect peace. Distinguished colleagues, any petition?
Point of order.
Any petition?
Point of order.
Point of order, yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleague, Adiola Solomon Olamilekan, representing Ogun West Senatorial District. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, I come under Order 9 under 10, under 41, and under 51. With the kind permission of Mr. President, may I proceed to read Order 9.
Okay, please read the orders.
Thank you, sir. Order 9. The privilege and the right enjoyed by the Senate collectively and by its members of the Senate individually, conferred by the Legislative House, in bracket powers and privileges, Act Cap 208, Laws of the Federation of 1990 and other statutes, or by practice, precedent, usage, and custom. Order 10. OB, when arises in case where adequate provision is not made in this standing order, the Senate shall by resolution regulate its own procedure. 10. Any senator may arise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and he shall be prepared to move without notice a motion declaring that a contempt or a breach of privilege has been committed, or referring the matter to the Committee on Ethics and Privileges. But if the matter is raised in the Committee of the Whole, the Senate and the chairman shall leave the chair to report progress. Order 41. Order 41, matters of urgent public importance. The matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day's sitting, and the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent. 2, if the claim is allowed by the President of the Senate and the leave of the Senate is given by at least 1/5 of the senator, and the matter shall stand over to the next legislative day. 3, a senator moving a motion under combined order of 41 and 51 shall ensure that the copies of the motion are available for all the senators when approved to move the motion is granted. Not more than one of such motion shall be made at the same sitting. 51. Notice shall not be dispensed with in the case of a motion and in respect of any other proceeding for which this notice is required, except with the consent of the President of the Senate and the general assent of the senators present. Mr. President, very distinguished colleague, I have come up with these orders this morning because, one, my privilege has been breached. Also, because I am one of those that participated in the passage of the 2024 appropriation bill. Because preparation of budgets is not only the sole responsibility of the Senate. It includes the Federal House of Reps and even the executive. But as chairman chairing the Senate Committee on Appropriation, who actively participated in the preparation of this document, and for what have transpired within the last 3 days, my privilege has been breached.
Sorry, what has transpired? Use your mic and your campaign voice.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, one of the distinguished senators of these chambers, a third-term senator precisely, granted an interview, second-term senator, granted an interview to BBC Hausa. And in that interview, issue relating to budget was mentioned, where it was stated clearly that this.
Well, let me. I think you have made your point. That you came under Order 9, Order 10, Order 41, and Order 51. One, breach of privileges. Two, matter of urgent national importance. And you have mentioned a burning issue in the public glare about interviews on the BBC services and some other media. So you would like us to give you the opportunity to move a motion in that regard. Is it the view of the Senate that he be allowed to continue? Those in support say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. You may move your motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, for the avoidance of doubt, before I go ahead and move my motion, I have the full transcript of the interview that was granted, and it was transcribed by Bashiru Aliu Mayeri, who transcribed it from Hausa to Langi, and it was notarized in the Court of Competent Jurisdiction, the Federal High Court, Abuja. And I have here in the flash the voice of distinguished Senator Abdul Ningi for everything he has said on that interview. With the kind permission of the Senate, I would like to lay this to before the Senate.
Please proceed. The clerk, can I have a copy? Distinguished Senator Solomon Olamileko, is it possible for you to, in the course of trying to move your motion for members who may not have been privileged to listen to the interview, can you read the transcribed version of the interview for us? The point of order, the clerk, he may need a copy.
Mr. President, very distinguished senators, I'm Michael Okpeyemi Bamidele. I represent the Central Senatorial District, and by the grace of God and the benevolence of my colleagues, the leader of the Senate. My point of order is Order 9 and Order 10. I will invite Mr. President and our distinguished colleagues to take legislative notice of the fact that these two orders have just been read by distinguished Senator Olamileko. However, for the purpose of emphasis and for ensuring that we follow our rules, I want to emphasize that it is emphasized in Order 9.2 that when a matter of privilege is raised, it shall be taken immediately. That in Order 9.3, it says where there isn't enough provision, the Senate shall regulate itself, which is covered in Order 1 sub B of our rules. But most importantly, Order 10 gives two instances under which a matter of privilege, when taking this seriously, ought to be considered. One is either to refer it to the Committee on Petitions or take it as a committee of the whole, where it is considered that seriously. For the avoidance of that, let me read that Order 10 once again. Any senator may rise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and he shall be prepared to move without notice a motion declaring that a contempt or breach of privilege has been committed, or referring the matter to the Committee on Ethics and Privileges. Now note, but if the matter is raised in the Committee of the whole Senate, the chairman shall leave the chair to report progress. Mr. Chairman, I stand to actually raise this order and to move, most respectfully, that the Senate resolve to a committee of the whole to take this motion so that the chairman will be back to report progress. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. I believe that he should actually be allowed to take his motion, but Senator Nader.
Good morning, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Senator Nader Ibrahim, representing Edo South Senatorial District. I stand to second the motion moved by the leader of the Senate that this motion be referred to the committee of the whole so that Mr. President can report progress. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, there's the various orders on the Senate standing orders as amended have been read out and are already known to us. The Senate leader has moved a motion that Senator Olamileko be allowed to proceed to present his motion to us, but that should be done under committee of the whole. Now the motion has been moved that this motion be taken under the committee of the whole, and thereafter the Senate President should report progress. Those in support that will proceed to resolve into committee of the whole to consider the motion and thereafter report progress, say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So we'll resolve into committee of the whole. Distinguished Senator Olamileko, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleague. Once again, Adeola Solomon Olamileko, representing Ogun West Senatorial District. Mr. President, to start with, you request of me to read the full transcript of the interview that was granted, or I go straight to the motion. Which do you want? The motion. Okay. Okay. The motion. Mr. President, urgent needs to address the false allegation.
Let's follow the procedure. The allegations you are describing have been transcribed. Even many that heard the first interview on the BBC service may not understand the language. Hence, you notarize the transcribed version. So it's important that you keep the entire Senate abreast of what this is all about before you go into your motion. So please read the transcribed version.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleague. Once again, Adeola Olamileko Solomon, Ogun West Senatorial District. The full English version of what Senator Abdul Ningi said in Hausa version of the BBC program. First of all, I want you to know that I am a member of the People's Democratic Party and a representative of the people. Based on my opinion, the government hasn't performed to our expectation. Things are getting worse compared to when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took the leadership of the country. People are going through a lot of difficulties. We live in the village. We are going there to interact with them. and they are lamenting seriously. They have now nowhere to go, so they have no one to express their grievances to than us. I think Bola Ahmed Tinubu didn't even understand the country, and he didn't understand the difficulties of ruling a country like Nigeria. Probably he has his thinking of what governance is, but I don't blame him so much, because when he was campaigning for the seat, there was no agreement or promise between him and the people. People were just blinded and voted for him because he supported former President Muhammadu Buhari when he was contesting. Some even voted for him because he is a Muslim, and as such, he needed their vote on whether he can or cannot do the right thing for the country. But the most painful thing is that the Northerners stood for him and did all they could to bring him to power. But unfortunately, there was no agreement between them and the president on what should be done to the North and the Northerners, especially taking into consideration the importance and the significant projects that the North has been yearning and aspiring to get for a long time. For example, the Ajaokuta project, the Mambila Power project, the dredging of River Niger, and other notable projects. What mostly disturbed my sleep is that we had a budget in 2013 and 2014 in which we earmarked billions of naira, but it was neglected by President Goodluck Jonathan. When President Buhari came, we thought it was one of the projects he would pay attention to. But unfortunately, it wasn't possible for over 8 years. Even road construction like Kano Abuja is not yet completed, as if it was a cause by someone, despite the road being the soul of our travelers in the North. Indeed, we don't attack the government as an opposition is supposed to do, but this is as a result of the situation and the government we have. There is so-called leaders that force on us were not voted by us. They brought religious issue and ethnic and tribal issue into the process. They used propaganda saying that there is no Hausa Fulani will be trusted to lead the opposition because there will be no peace. If you look at it from this scenario, the majority of those in opposition are from the Northeast and the Northwest. But we are not allowed to be the leaders of the opposition in the Senate. This is one of the reasons why we said we will go back and look at what is happening under the umbrella of the Northern Senators Forum, which is under my leadership. But you can't do anything here because it involves members of the ruling and opposition party. It is very difficult to challenge the ruling party under the umbrella. Once again, you want the unity of the North. Transferring of some of the Department of Federal Agency to Lagos.
Read the last paragraph again.
Sir? It is very difficult to challenge the ruling party under that umbrella once you want the unity of the North. Transferring of some Department of Federal Agency to Lagos. I will speak not as a member of opposition, but as a Northerner. As a Northerner, I know that
what I have on my paper, which is the transcribed version, which has been notarized by a court of competent jurisdiction, is what I would like to hear. Some of the things you read there are not here. He said, I want you to start from where you said, this is one of the reasons why we will go back and look at what is happening under the umbrella. So read from there.
okay. This is one of the reasons why we said we will go back and look at what is happening under the umbrella of the Northern Senators Forum, which is under my leadership. But you can't do anything here. You can't do everything here because it involves members of the ruling and opposition party. It is very difficult to challenge the ruling party under that umbrella once you want the unity of the North. Transferring of some department of federal agency to Lagos. I will speak not as a member of opposition, but as a northerner. And as a northerner, I know that this is going to happen. We heard about it, and we saw several examples in the past, and that tell us that this is possible. But as I speak, our people, especially the leaders, are yet to take any action to find the solution. That is why I am not even surprised. These things that are happening are two categories. Some affect the North only, some affect the entire country. What we are doing now, as a leader of the Forum of Northerners, we are trying to address the problem to reduce the strength or reduce its strength without allowing politics to come in. About the review of the budgets. This is true. For the past 3 months, we have engaged consultants to review the budget for us. We have some experts that are working on it line by line. We have seen huge damage that was done not only to the North, but the entire country in that budget. We are supposed to sit with the Senate President to inform him about what we have observed. We want to show him what we have seen in the budget that is not acceptable. We will not accept them, and we don't want the country to continue spending money on those things. Apart from what the National Assembly did on the floor, there was another budget that was done on the ground which we didn't know. The new things we have discovered in the budget were not known to us. We haven't seen them in the budget, and that was debated and considered on the floor of the National Assembly. Discoveries. For example, it was said that there was a budget of 28 trillion, but what we passed was 25 trillion naira.
Please read that again, because this is the Senate. This is the Senate. We are only an arm of the National Assembly. Budget is a joint thing between the National Assembly and between the Senate and the House of Representatives. Are you hearing me? Yeah. And then the executive is also involved in the sense that they bring the budget, and then we look at it, tinker with it, and pass. I want you to read that portion again. For example, read.
For example, it was said that there was a budget of 28 trillion, but what was passed was 25 trillion. So there is a 3 trillion on top. Where are they? Where is it going? So we need to know this. There are a lot of things we are coming up with. A report, and we will show the president himself and ask him if he's aware or not. This is what we intended to do. We are to meet the president. We will talk to him about the Mambila Power Project, Ajakuta, and the River Niger dredging. We will talk to him about the Niger Republic. Recently, they said they will construct a dam, and this is not good for us. The action taken by ECOWAS has affected the relationship between Nigeria and Niger. There was an agreement, Nigeria and Niger. There was an agreement that they will not construct a dam to that, so that the Kanji Dam will be intact, and we will have them. We will give them electricity in returns. Over $1 billion was spent on Mambila. BBC has reported. Where is that money? Who collected the money? We need to know and see what can be done. This Mambila is like the future of the North. Every part of the North, every part of the country has its old as a symbol that will save them in the future. One of the weaknesses in the North, one of our weaknesses in the North is that we don't love ourselves and our region so much that we don't care about the future. We are all just living anyhow. We just love the region in our mouth, not at heart, and I'm seriously worried about that. Security challenge in the North. These security challenges are happening in the North. There is nowhere in the South where someone will be abducted and spend even 7 days in custody of the abductors. Look at Katsina, Zamfara, and Benue. I am even afraid that one day we will wake up and see the state like Zamfara are being taken away from the country. It is possible going by what is happening. And this was transcribed by Bashiru Aliu Mere, confirmed the above translated version of the Hausa interview used by Hausa service of the BBC on the program Gani Mani Aya, and is correct. And it is notarized document. Gani Maya, sorry. Gani Mani Aya. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I haven't read the transcribed version. I come under order 9 and 10 that my privilege has been breached. And I focus on that particular area that I believe affects me and not on the entire interview that was granted. And it becomes necessary, aftermath of the various interviews and headlines of various social media, newspapers that have come forth as a result of this singular interview. And it is on that premise that I've decided to approach these chambers to seek for protection and also to put up a motion before the Nigerian Senate to know the nitty-gritty of what has been said as contained in this particular interview.
Just to guide, is it from this interview that we saw the screaming headlines that the Senate had padded the 2028 budget with 3 trillion? Is it from? Because
let me present the motion, then I will explain. Urgent need to address the false allegation against the Senate and the presidency on the 2024 Appropriation Act by Senator Abdul Ningi, representing Bauchi Central. The motion is sponsored by me, Adeola Olamilekon. The Senate notes that following the presentation of the 2024 Appropriation Bill of 27.503 by the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, to the joint sitting of the Senate and the House of Representatives on Wednesday, the 29th of November, 2023, and following the debate of the general principle of the bill, at the second reading from Thursday, the 30th November to Friday, 1st December 2023, the bill was committed to the Committee on Appropriation for further legislative action, and in which Senator Abdul Ningi is a member of the committee. Also note that to attain the January-December budget cycle, the subcommittee submitted the harmonized report to the Committee of Appropriation, and the report of the Committee on Appropriation submitted to the Senate and was unanimously passed on Saturday, the 30th of December 2023, and a budget of 28.77 trillion was assented to by the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces on 1st of January 2024, as shown below. Mr. President, very distinguished colleague, before I go further, the document we have here, the two documents we have here was shared to the 109 senator of the Senate. Contained in this document, under the volume 1, paragraph 2, 3, and 4, is the breakdown of the 28.77 trillion budget that was passed. And from paragraph 7, 8, are the breakdown of the budget, which we call the budget details of the entire MDAs. And when you add this figure together, as contained in this document for the entire MDAs, it comes to 25.4 trillion naira. Sir, there are agencies of the government whose budgets and their details are not contained in these two documents because they are statutory agencies and their money are on first line charge. Agencies such as 1, the judiciary. The judiciary budget details is not contained in this document. 2, the National Assembly. The National Assembly budget details is not contained in this document. 3, INEC. The INEC budget details is not contained in this document. 4, UBEC, the Universal Basic Education. The Universal Basic Education budget details is not contained in this document. 6, TED Fund. The TED Fund recurrent and capital details is not contained in this budget. 7, the Northeast Development Commission. The breakdown of the Northeast Development Commission details is not contained in this budget. 8, the NDDC. The NDDC budget details is not contained in this document. 9, the GOEs, which is the government-owned enterprise, whose expenditure stood at 1,060 billion naira. Their details is not contained in this document. When you add all of that together, it gives you 3.221 trillion naira. And when you add it to the 25.4, it gives you 28.77 trillion naira. And it's no new thing. I have here a copy of the last 3 budget that was passed, 2021, 2022, 2023. All the details of these agencies I've mentioned are not contained in this document. So for my brother who have put up a consultant to look into this budget and have reported that 25 trillion was approved by the Senate, it's not been fair to the Senate. And I want to say that despite the fact an overture made to the Senate President and complained bitterly about this, and the Senate President requested that let me be furnished with the details and we look into it and necessary action will be taken. We refused, or instead of doing that, we went to the press and addressed the press. And as at yesterday, my brother Senator Abdul Ningi still insists that he stood by his 3.7 trillion that has been missing within the 2024 appropriation bill. Sir, attached herewith in this document are item and the list of those documents that are contained in the budget and those that are not contained in the budget that made up the 28.77 trillion. Aware that the additional increase of 1.2 trillion to that was presented by the President came during the appropriation process through the additional funding request and some item of expenditure to the committee. Some item of expenditure to the committee, they were not included in the bill as submitted by the President. We are meant to address additional funding for judiciary, agriculture, food security, works, science and technology, education, water resources, National Assembly, health, national homegrown school feeding program, and please see attached below as I presented. Also aware that the additional source of funding for the increase came from the benchmark of naira to $1 from 750 to 800 naira, and the increase in government-owned enterprises revenue and other sources. Alarm that on Saturday, the 9th March 2023, Senator Abdul Ningi, the PDP Bauchi Central, claiming to speak on behalf of the Northern Senator Forum, granted an interview to BBC News Hausa service, where he made false and grave allegations against the executive, the President of the Senate, and the Senate, whereby he alleged that 2024 Appropriation Act passed by the National Assembly and being implemented by the executive is 25 trillion instead of 28.77 trillion, indicating a padding of 3 trillion naira. On the basis of this falsehood, Senator Ningi claimed that there is a budget done underground, meaning that the federal government is operating two national budgets. Further alarm that Senator Sulaiman Kawu, NNPP, Kano South, a member of the Northern Senator Forum, in particular the spokesperson forum, posted the audio copy of the interview, see attached notarized English language translation on Senator's exclusive social media platform, purporting to support its content and further spread the false allegation, which immediately found its way into numerous online media outlets and mainstream print and electronic media, with such headline like Northern Senator alleged 3 trillion pardon, exclusive Northern Senator move against Akpabio over alleged 4 trillion budget pardon, and other similar derogatory headlines. Disturbed that these false allegations, including that of 2024 appropriation budget being against the North, has since generated debate in the media and general public, with aspersion on all senators of the Senate and members of the National Assembly. Accordingly resolved, 1. Pursuant to Order 1B of the Senate Standing Rule 2023 as amended, allow the immediate deliberation of this matter and take appropriate action deemed fit in the overriding public interest as a matter of urgent importance to prevent further breakdown of law and order. 2. Take further necessary steps to correct the wrong impression in the public domain of 2024 appropriation budget created by the BBC interview and other national social media houses and social media platforms by Senator Abdul Ningi and amplified by Senator Sulaiman Abdurrahman Kawu through his Facebook account and other social media platforms. 3. Take any further decision as the Senate deemed fit and proper safeguard the integrity of the 2024 budget, which is the pivotal to the revamping of the economy. Mr. President, very distinguished colleague, I so submit. I so move.
Yes. Distinguished Senator Joel.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Joel Honorable Thomas. I represent the good people of Delta South Senatorial District. Mr. President, I arise to second the motion ably presented by my colleague, distinguished Senator Adiola Olamilekan. Mr. President, having seconded the motion, I want to crave your indulgence to make my contributions. Thank you, Mr. President, and distinguished colleagues. The statement by distinguished Senator Ningi Abdul, PDP Bauchi Central, the chairman of the Northern Senators Forum, in some sections of the media, that the 2024 budget was padded to the tune of 3 trillion, and that the executive was implementing a different budget from what was passed by the National Assembly, is not only very presumptuous, it is scandalous, and an attempt to incite the public against the National Assembly and the federal government. This particular budget was passed by both chambers of the National Assembly and was assented to by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. To now cast aspersions on such a matter of national significance without allowing the fact-checking or verification is worrisome. Mr. President, permit me to read verbatim the English version posted by distinguished Senator Suleiman Kawu. Breaking news. For the first time in Nigeria history, today we are operating 2 different budgets. One budget approved by the National Assembly, signed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the other implemented by the presidency. This one approved by us is 25 trillion, while the one operated by the federal government is 28 trillion. Apparently, we discovered 3 trillion was inserted into the budget without locations. This is the highest budget padding happened in Nigerian history under Senator Akpabio watched. I'm quoting. We resolve as people representatives to see President Tinubu on this issue with facts and figures to ask him if he is aware with this embarrassment or not. Then from there we will take action. Let Nigerians be patient with us. This is a national issue. It affects all Nigerians irrespective of party, tribe, or religion. Senator Abdul Ningi, Chairman of the Senators Forum, as quoted by Senator Suleiman Kawu. Mr. President, the above statement contains the following assertions. Number one, today in Nigeria, we are operating 2 budgets. 2, the one approved by the National Assembly is 25 trillion, while the one operated by the President is 28 trillion. I'm a member of the Appropriation Committee, I'm a member of this Senate, and it is in this Senate that we sat and considered the 2024 appropriation bill and passed it. And what we passed was not 25 trillion, but was 28 trillion. The third point there is that we discovered 3 trillion was inserted into the budget without locations. 4, this is the highest budget padding in Nigerian history under Senator Akpabio. 5th, let Nigerians be patient with us. Mr. President, as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and as a global citizen with global credentials, allowing me to practice as an accountant and tax professional anywhere in the world, I want to say these assertions must be promptly investigated and decisive actions taken to save the integrity of the Senate and my integrity. Because all eyes are on us, and this matter is currently in a matter in the public domain. Mr. President, I second the motion that this matter be investigated and follow the rules of the Senate and take actions. I so move, Mr. President. Thank you, sir. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, for me, I think this is a very straightforward matter. We have a situation where we should actually be the stabilizers of the National Assembly. But I think sometimes in our efforts to go after certain individuals, and to go after certain goals, and to go after certain personal issues, we tend to go overboard. I think you've thrown more light, Senator Joel, on what was posted by Senator Kawu. I think that is where they picked most of the headlines from. Budget padding, Akpabio, 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 Akpabio. I don't think anybody ever mentioned Tajuddin Abbas, Tajuddin Abbas, Tajuddin Abbas, because it takes both the Senate and the House of Representatives to make a budget. The executive submits it to us, and then we work on it, and we even worked on it together. All the committees here invited their DGs, the ministers, and they appeared before them. All their MDs, you appear before them before you finally when in fact to speed up the process, we made sure that we had a joint meeting of the House of Representatives and the Senate when you were meeting with the heads of your various agencies and ministries before finally going to defend your proposal before the appropriation committee, which was also a joint sitting of appropriation committee of the House of Reps and the Senate. So I think what is out there from United States of America to Canada, to this, to that, as a result of the issue generated. In fact, I've even seen a response from the presidency attempting to even defend the Senate, that in their assessment, there was no budget padding by the Senate. But I've seen Premium Times also reporting that this is the highest budget padding in the history of Nigeria since 1960. That, yes. So it's not for me, it's for you to discuss. I want to state clearly that I am an unbiased umpire. I have no voice, I have no say. The decision is yours. Distinguished Senator Olarere. Point of order will be taken, but let's finish this because we are on a point of order. Huh? I will take it. I've already recognized Senator Olarere. You are not hearing what I'm saying. I have heard your point of order. It will be taken. Senator Olarere, say what you want to say.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Just a clarification. My name is Olalere Kamorudin Oyewumi. I represent Osun West Central District, and by the grace of God and the support of my people, the Deputy Minority Leader of the Senate. Sir, it will be very important to make a clarification at this point, because this matter and all the allegations are already in the public domain, and questions have been asked from time to time since 2 days ago when this thing came out. In paragraph 4 or 5, you know, there was a whole paragraph devoted to the selection of the minority leadership has been imposed. I found that very disturbing. Imposed by who? I was fortunate to be among the first set and the second set. The truth is that nobody imposed us, and our colleagues know that we are not imposed. Wait, that is it here. Wait, let me finish. It is there. It is there. Listen, let me finish. It is there. Both the first one and the second one, our people signed for us. In the first attempt, 36 senators signed for the three of us. And when the two of them were removed, individually, the present minority leader was signed for personally, and he has 42 votes. I said we elected you. So, thank you. It's very, very important so that the world will know that we are not imposed. We are elected by our people through their signature, and that is why we are announced to represent our people. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Let me say that had been breached, and that he was elected by his people, one as a senator, and two elected by majority of the members of the opposition, and it was not imposed. So your observation and your submissions are sustained. Senator Alero.
Point of order, Mr. President. I come under constitutional point of order. 36. Section 36. Right to fair hearing. With your permission, Mr. President, I I will read. Let me go straight forward and read 2A, section 36 2A.
Please.
Provides okay. In the determination of his civil rights and obligation, including any question or determination by or against any government or authority, a person shall be entitled to fair hearing within a reasonable time by a court or other tribunal established by law and constituted in such manner as to secure its independence and impartiality. Provides, I will section 2A, not waste our time. 2A provides for an opportunity for the person whose rights and obligation may be affected to make representation to an administrative authority before the authority makes the decision affecting that person. Mr. President, I come under this order because fair hearing is a fundamental human right enshrined in our Constitution. Allegations have been made against Senator Abdul Ningi. I think it's only fair for us to give him time or to give him chance to defend himself before this august body.
I want to do it now and here. And I have the documents. I have the documents to back any claim. I want to be given the opportunity to defend myself.
You are not recognized. Sit down, you are not recognized.
Here.
Mr. President, I haven't finished. I also have a point of order raised by Senate leader.
Distinguished colleagues, we cannot suddenly turn the Senate into a market. Distinguished Senator Alero, we give you respect, not just as a ranking senator, but as an elder statesman. So if you stopped talking while you have the floor, and then you allow Senator Ningi to jump up and start shouting, that's not the behavior of the Senate. This place is not, this is not a Rise Television or BBC Hausa service. So I would like a situation where you speak. If Senator Ningi wants to say something, I will grant him the opportunity, and he will say something. But we must conduct ourselves with decorum and respect for one another, and particularly respect for this institution. So if you are through, and any other person wants to talk, the person should raise his hand. I will recognize you. You can come. Noted. Any other person who wants to say something? Yeah, no, we can't go further with any other person until I hear from Senator Ningi.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Abdul Ningi, and I represent Bauchi Central of Bauchi State, and of course, a member of the Appropriation Committee of the Senate. Mr. President, from the onset, let me concur to about 80% of the translation read out by Senator Yai. I think they have done a fair job, except on some issues that they could not understand. First, I have never said somebody was blinded. Secondly, I have never said the budget was padded. Mr. Chairman,
The beginning of this brouhaha started with this text, and by your leave, I will read. For the first time in Nigerian history today, we are operating two different budgets. One budget approved by the National Assembly, signed by President Bola Tinubu, and one signed and one implemented by the presidency. The one approved by us is 25 trillion, while the one operating by the government is 28 trillion. Apparently, we discovered 3 trillion was inserted into the budget without location. This is the highest budget pattern happening in Nigeria. History under Senator Akpabio, taking place under the watchful eyes of Senator Akpabio. We resolve as people representing to see Bola Ahmed Tinubu on this issue with facts and figures, to ask him if he's aware with this embarrassment or not. Then from there, we will take action. Let Nigerians be patient with us. This is a national issue. It affects Nigeria, irrespective of party, tribe, or religion. And Senator Abdul Ningi, Chairman, Northern Senators Forum, is purported to be the author of this document, of this. Let me, for the avoidance of doubt, I have never issued out a statement of this nature to anybody, anywhere, and anytime. And I want members of this Senate to record it. This is a fake contribution that was forwarded. I do not know the author of this. Having listened to the House of Virgin read out by Senator Yayi, have you discovered any of this proposition? Yes. No. Yes. No. Yes. You have discovered one issue that pertains to the budget, and that is the issue of 28 trillion versus 25 trillion. I have said that. And I said, if you are listening to him clearly, that we had passed a budget of 28 trillion, and we have discovered location. That's what I said. Please. Can you listen to me? And I said, in between the 28 point something trillion and the 25 trillion, we have discovered that there is no nexus. There is no nexus. Nexus means there is no amount of money to allocation. There is no amount of money to allocation. And I said, work is in progress. Mr. Chairman, you recalled last Tuesday, myself and Kawu saw you up there, and that we wanted to have an audience with you. And you gave us the grace to see you. We wanted Wednesday, you said no Thursday. And we met. The National Assembly, the Northern Senators Forum met on a Tuesday with a copy of our findings, which is here before us. And the only person who has the copy is myself. When we met as a forum, nobody, no one has seen what is in these copies. What we did, we read out what was discovered and which we felt was disturbing. Subsequently, therefore, we made a visit to your place. Even as we visited your place, we gave you a summary of what you think happened. And we told you we are almost 80% completion. I tried to run down some of the figures to you, and you listen attentively. At the end of the proceedings, you also said, part of the problem we have is the way the budget was brought, and there was no time for the full rigors of budgetary provision. We said we can understand that. However, I told you, Mr. President, that these 2 copies with me, we have about 21 additional copies that will make it to you. And I told Bino Zero and Cow that on a Monday, the leadership of the forum will take the complete copies of our findings to you. On a Friday, Mr. President, my attention was called to this particular forward submission. And we chatted, myself, Senator Dab, Senator Karimi, Senator Medoki, and they showed their anger about this particular statement. And I said, listen to the Hausa version. In the Hausa version, did you hear me mention Apagio's name? Did you hear me mention Padin? Even the one that was read out, there was no. So I went to Sokoto and quickly came back to Abuja. As I was arriving in Abuja, here you have a presidential spokesman response. Not on the interview I granted, but on this particular version that I said the president is implementing budget. That I said the president does not like the nurse. That I said the president does not care about the nurse. And therefore, because of the filthy nature that the national media took it, I rushed to this assembly and countered with documentary evidence what was said here and what I said. Mr. President, if you had listened, all your agents have listened to the Arise interview and the Correspondence Chapel interview, I said categorically, the president's powers stopped as a proposal, as he proposed the budget. And I said, there is no way the National Assembly will add anything on the budget and it becomes funding. The tapes are there. I said the National Assemblies have powers, and you cannot call that powers padding. And I said I'm very grateful to the presidential spokesman who, encountering me, said the National Assembly added 1.27 trillion. And I was very clear. I was not aware of the addition. I was not even aware, as I'm seated here, of the full budget of the National Assembly. Mr. President, please, can you allow me to, Mr. President, Perusing through the budget, first, we discover humongous anomalies of repetition. We discovered some senatorial districts in this particular document. Some senatorial districts have up to 120 billion, and my senatorial district has just 2 billion. Mr. President, yes. Mr. President, in this budget that Yari presented to you, I have facts, constituency by constituency. Some 120 billion, some 50 billion, some 30 billion. Mr. President, some have less than 1 billion. Mr. President, as I speak to you, Mr. President, as I speak to you, I do not know your take-home pay. You know my own. I do not know the take-home pays of any of the principal officers. Mr. President, as I speak, I know within the budgetary provisions, you made available funds for purchase of cars. Mr. President, I don't know how much you spent on your cars and the other principal officers. I know how much was spent on individuals, senators' cars. And as I speak to you here, standing, people are calling me names. I do not receive a single car. All within the budget provisions, Mr. Chairman. All within the budget provisions. I have as a matter of fact, I have 5 aides, just like every member of the House of Representatives has 5. Mr. President, I do not know the number of your aides. I do not know the number of the aides of the Deputy Senate President. You allow me to speculate, and therefore everything that is in the budget is my concern. Finally, Mr. President, finally, Mr. President, finally, Mr. President, finally, in the course of the math is perfect. All people are in
Distinguished Senator Ningi, when you were speaking, you said in conclusion.
Yeah, I'm going to conclude, sir.
No, I said you said in conclusion. But let me just say that In your speech, you tended to deviate from the issues on the floor, and you tended to bundle a lot of issues together. And distinguished colleagues, may I just inform you that distinguished Senator Ningi and distinguished Senator Ismail Akawo requested a meeting with me and Northern senators, that they were going to meet with me and 38 others. And at that meeting, I may have to report to you that even Senator Tambuwa was there, Senator Sani Musa was there, and a lot of other senators, including Senator Bamoro, and many other Northern senators were there. And he told me that he had paid a consultant 30 million to unbundle the budget, and he also made some of the allusions here that what was passed by the National Assembly was 25 trillion, but what is being operated by the presidency was 28 trillion. And when he told me that, I said, I would like to see the details. In fact, he said, so some things are repeated in the budget, and that the calculation his consultants have come up with was 25 trillion. And therefore, 3.7 trillion was hanging. Distinguished Senator Alero, you missed that meeting, but many of the senators were there in that meeting. He now gave me a diagram trying to give percentages allotted to regions. And in the course of it, I discovered that while the Southeast, at least I'm talking of Southeast now, had about 3.9%, the South-South had 2.2%. The South-South is where the Senate President comes from. So I was surprised. So I called his attention, and I requested to have the full details. And he promised me that he was going to make the full details available. And I told him that when the full details are made available, in fact, Senator Dume was also there, he spoke, that when the full details of his findings, you were there, you even, Senator Dume was not only there, but he also spoke. I said, when the full details are made available, that I definitely will also get a consultant to study it, and I will call us to meet again. Up till now, you have not given me any document, but you were able to attend to the BBC interview. So, what is before us now is that it will be good for our colleagues, because this thing is in the public glare. If you had given me full details, I have not received full details up to this moment. I would have been able to know what you know. But so far, what you know is only known to you. It's not known to any other person. So I don't know how you will rush to the press. Premium Times, all sorts of areas carry different versions. And the Nigerian public, the social media is very fast. From Canada, United States, everywhere, the story was budget padding by Senate. In fact, I can quote a section of the Premium Times that said that this is the highest level of budget padding in Nigeria's history, where the Senate passed a budget of 25 trillion, but what is being operated is 20 trillion. I just want Nigerians to know, because Nigerians are listening to us. I want Nigerians to know that what the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, presented to us in a joint sitting end of November 2023 for consideration was 27.5 trillion. So at no time did the President present 25 trillion. Now, the presidency has even come to clarify that. And if there is any addition to the budget, it's in the sum of 1.2 trillion. And he has, the removal of the motion has given us a breakdown of where the additions went to. And also, for me, that you are saying you have, you don't know how many aides the Senate President has. You don't know how many aides the Deputy Senate President has that is in the budget. We haven't seen the areas in the budget where the aides of the senators and Senate Presidents are listed out. No matter what we want to discuss here, this is not the speech I expected. I expected a speech of somebody who would say, oh, I was misquoted. Oh, I'm sorry for this or that. Oh, the misinterpretation was this. But you went back to Arise yesterday night and justified your position and went further to say you have documents. Even now in front of this Senate, you say you have documents. And those documents are with you. No single senator here knows. No Nigerian knows. But at the same time, Nigerians are bashing the Senate. Nigerians are imbibing. Many Nigerians will never in future come back to respect these chambers. So the integrity of these chambers has been totally damaged, and we wanted you to repair it with your speech. But instead of that, you said you have more documents to prove what you are saying. Senator, I did not cut, I gave you all the time. Senator Shehu Sani, sorry, Senator Sani Musa, I want your contribution, not just as a senator, but also as a chairman of Senate Committee on Finance that played a major role in this budget saga.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Mohammed Sani Musa, representing Niger East Senatorial District. My distinguished colleagues, I'm standing to make my own comments and to say it convincingly as my heart and mind have given me to say. I am a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria like any one of you here. But strongly, I am disappointed not only in the way and manners we present ourselves to national discourse. And there is no better place for me to say it than here. I went to my constituency yesterday. I have seen calls from my colleagues. I have not responded to some. Some I have answered them. What is your view about what is happening? Why are you not commenting? Why will I comment? Is it my colleagues that voted for me to be here? Why will I comment? 2024 budget came on the 31st of November. 30th of November. 30th of November. And we had only 1 month. If I will go by parliamentary standards, we have the right to decide when to pass our budget. But if we have decided to pass a budget, on what parameters did we pass our budget? And if those parameters were given, this disrespectful chamber sat down, deliberate on those parameters, agree on those parameters, pass those parameters and approve them? Because there's no way you can make a budget without them. So if anybody will come and say this budget is a default, that means we are all at default from the first time when we were passing the MTEF. And when the executive brought their budget as a proposal, the total amount, compared to the total amount they returned after the first MTEF, we still deliberated here and we reviewed that MTEF, we approved it and we passed it. So I'm hearing for the first time, waiting for Senator Ningi to affirm himself, to saying he said we passed 25 trillion naira budget. Since he has said he did not say it and he recanted it, I will reserve the words I have for that. But I will go further to saying that I've been maligned as a senator. The respect I used to have when I go home, I saw it different the last time I went. And I was told that I've been given an allocation of 55 billion in my budget, and that video is even in the TikTok today. So why will I not stand here and say my mind? I'm not a party to any discovery that I have not seen. To me, it's not a discovery. And I don't see any reason why I will disturb myself to posting any comment. I will want my distinguished and respectful colleagues, Mr. President, I'm not one person that do anything on eye service. I don't. If I have anything I will say it before anyone and clear my mind. Distinguished Senator Ningi, Samai Lekau, you are a northern senators. And I'm saying it in the chamber of the Senate. I'm not a second-class northerner. I will be sitting here. Some of the things that are happening within the Northern Senators Forum doesn't get to people like me. This is the person that will give me the information. So what makes me feel somehow the day we came for the meeting in the Senate President's office, in fact, I didn't want to attend that meeting. It was one of your aides that insisted I must be there. If I'm not there, it will mean something. I said, let it mean. I was chairing a subcommittee meeting in the ad hoc of disbursement then, but I was the last person to be there. And why did I go there? Why did I go there? Why did I go there? If there's anything, we agreed at that meeting, nobody will go to the press. I was asked to comment. I reluctantly comment. Let me use the word of Senator Ibrahim. In the 9th Assembly, he will always say, I'm reluctantly agreeing to it. I reluctantly agreed to make a comment. And when I made a comment, I said, if anybody said he has seen anything, provide the evidence. And since the evidence will be given to Senate President knows where to take those evidences, and we will know the truth or otherwise of those evidences. But going to the press, we should not go to the press. In the morning, when I saw a message from Samai Lekau, I felt we should have acted as senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I felt so sad when I saw it. And that message is going round. Look at the content, look at the English. Is it senators? Is that our quality? Is that our standard? Mr. President, We will deal with the issue of the Senate of the budget, but we have to also deal with our ethical standard in the Senate. Thank you, Mr. President.
Here, point of order. Point of order. Point of order. Point of order.
Senator Jaribe.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, distinguished colleagues, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for yielding the floor to me. I thought when the chairman of appropriations spoke, it was as clear as crystals that there was a misunderstanding of the figures. When he came up with the GOEs and all the agencies on first line charge, there is no difference between the figure he reeled out and the figure purported to be padded. I thought with that matter would have been rested by Senator Ningi, saying that this 3-point-something billion trillion was not part of the budgetary provisions printed out for us. That would have settled this matter. We are going forth and back on these issues and coming up with issues of the budget and individual issues concerning what came to our various constituencies. If we want to go into those issues, all of us are culpable. Some senators here, so-called senior senators, got 500 million each. I am a ranking senator, I didn't get. Did I go to the press? I didn't get. Most of you got. And yes, if we want to go into those issues, excuse me, if we want to go into those issues, yes. So I think that Senator Ningi, that is my position. Wahala now, you see the wahala. No. Quite all right. Point of order. Million. I'm not finished. I have the floor. I have the floor. Mr. President sitting as chair, I still have the floor.
When they give you floor, correct that 500.
Let us watch our dirty linen in public, man. Hello. Your Excellency.
I love you.
Apologize to all on his behalf.
Distinguished senators, take your seat, please. No, let's go. Take your seat. Take your seat. Let's continue.
Let it clear that it was 500 projects, not 30%.
Now leader now.
I want to appeal to my decision.
Order! Take your seat. Point of order. Take your seat. Take your seat. Take your distinguished colleagues, take your seat. Take your seat. Take your seat.
your seat. Take your seat. Take your seat. Senator Cyril, take your seat. Senator.
No, he's, don't worry. I'll handle it. I'll handle it. Distinguished colleagues, Section 66. Open to Section 66. Section 66, please. Nobody should approach the chair any longer. Senator Alero, please. I want I want to take control. Please. No, please. Section 66. Senator Omer. Senator Ezia.
He's ready to apologize.
I know.
He said the consultant misled him. He is ready to say that the consultant has misled Northern Senators Party. The 0.7 billion is allocation for judiciary and INEC.
Your Excellency, the chamber is ready for business, sir.
Point of order. Point of order. Extension of time. Mr. President, Mr. President, sitting as chair, distinguished colleagues, I rise pursuant to Order 8/3 to ask for extension of time to enable us see beyond 2 p.m. I so move, Mr. President.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, I second the motion that the Senate do extend its time in order to complete the items on the order paper. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, a motion has been moved and seconded that this August Assembly do extend the time of our sitting beyond 2 p.m. Those in support of the motion as moved and seconded say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Let me point out Section 62 of our rules. Whenever the President of the Senate or the Chairman rises, as in this case during a debate, any senator then speaking or offering to speak shall sit down, and the Senate, or if it is in the committee, shall be silenced, so that the President of the Senate, or sitting as chairman, may be heard without any interruption. It means that every senator should drop his hand. It also means that every senator should be seated and no noise. Section 66 of our rules. Nobody becomes a senator unless he has gone through the rudiments of primaries, of election, being sworn in, and therefore we have processes. The same way this chamber has processes and procedures. So whenever we make noise or move around, we must not forget that we are under strict rules of our standing orders, the rules of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We are here today. Others will come tomorrow. Some of us may not come again. Some of us may come again. So it's important for us to obey the rules. So the Senate President is standing. Section 66. The President of the Senate or the Chairman, after having called the attention of the Senate or of the committee to the conduct of a senator who persists in irrelevance or tedious repetition, either of his own arguments or of the arguments used by other senators in debate, may direct him to discontinue his speech. That is 66(1). 66(2) also gives the Senate President the power to order the Sergeant at Arms to walk out such a senator from the day's proceedings. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sitting as chair, distinguished colleagues, my name is Abamoro. I represent the very good people of the Benue South Senatorial District, and by the grace of God and the support of my colleagues, the Minority Leader. Mr. President, I want to appreciate the debates that have gone on so far in the course of the motion moved by the chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriation. Mr. President, I want to anchor my comment on this issue from two perspectives. From the perspective of the budget, from the perspective of the meetings that have been held this far on this issue, and then from the perspective of the derogatory and undermining comments that have been made on my position and the position of others as minority leaders. Mr. President, first, from the perspective of the budget. As has been noted, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this budget is the product of painstaking efforts by the Executive and the National Assembly. National Assembly, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. And all of us here, directly or indirectly, have been involved in the process. And we all know that in the process of making a budget, everybody, either at the level of the committee or at the level of the Senate, at plenary, or the House of Plenary, makes contributions. And if we have observations as to whatever is not correctly put in perspective from what majority of the people have advanced, we all know the procedure for addressing such issues. And I think in this instant case, we have not done that. We have not done that. And I don't know what it means to some people, but I know that this Senate is supposed to be a Senate of mature minds. And in the process, therefore, we must surrender our interests to the interests of this very institution and the institution of the country called Nigeria. To do otherwise is certainly irresponsible. And I make bold to say here that Nigeria is not an island on itself. There are other parliamentary institutions in other countries. And so when something untoward like this begins to happen, I think we must reflect very soberly and get ourselves back on the right tracks. And that is the reason why I say here that this budget, I understand that my brother here, Senator Ningi, had made some observations about the budget. Mr. President, I want to inform you that I attended that meeting of Northern Senators with you that day. Due to the respect that I have for you and the respect that I have for the leadership and the institution of Northern Senators. And when we got there, observations were made. And I think the conclusion that we arrived at that time was that these documents on the observations must be presented to the Senate President. And we agreed, even informally, that if there are any anomalies here, they can be corrected by the either corrigendum or amendment to the budget, or that the leadership will take note of the anomalies and correct them in the subsequent budget. If at all. And so, as a member of the Northern Senators Forum, I feel offended that a press conference was addressed. That was the basis of which you announced my name as a new minority leader selected by the other minority parties, including Senator Osita Ngutu. And so while we aspire to get certain things at certain points, if we don't get, let heaven not fall. Because this is heaven falling or not heaven. No. So I was duly nominated, I was duly elected, and I have been doing my work here. And so, Mr. President, I want to at least address this issue of me not doing the work of opposition, and we're not doing the work of opposition. It's not correct. Mr. President, according to section 26, 27, there shall be a minority leader of the Senate who will be nominated from the minority parties in the Senate. 2, the minority leader shall liaise with the Senate majority leader. B, second motions for the parties on major issues. C, second motions on formal and non-partisan business of the Senate. D, perform such other duties as the President may allocate to him. Mr. President, there is no motion here that I have not seconded. And even today, I have consulted and liaised with the Senate majority leader more than 5 times. So on a very serious note, I think we are doing our work here. Let me say that as a minority leader, I will not just stand and criticize policies of government for the sake of it. All we want for this country is stability, growth, progress, and creating the highest happiness for the highest number of Nigerian people. That, to my mind, is not necessarily achieved through confrontation and unnecessary criticism. And so, I want all of us, the federal government of Nigeria is the federal government of Nigeria. It's not an APC federal government, it's not a PDP federal government. And I think, in the spirit of the founding fathers of federalism, we must all work together for the benefit of everybody. And that is exactly what I am going to do. That is what exactly the minority leadership of this Senate is going to do. Thank you, Mr. President.
Having listened to the State of the Nation address by the minority leader, very able minority leader who has been doing his work, it is not the Senate that accuse you that you are not doing your work. Could be an individual's view that maybe because you are not like Mike Tyson, you have not boxed anybody yet, they expected you to fight. I'm very delighted with your speech. So because we have exhausted these issues, we will give 2 people, maybe 3, the opportunity to say something. The first person, I would like, Senator Aledo, you've spoken on the issue already. If you know you have spoken on the issue, please, if you have spoken on the issue, please give us time so that we give a chance to those who have not spoken. The problem we have in the Senate, is that the Senate President has had the habit of inviting ranking senators most times to talk for more than 10 times because he was thinking that they would be able to guide the Senate, because almost 80% of the senators are new. But where the ranking senators confuse even the new senators who are coming, the Senate President has the right to withdraw those privileges. So, Senator Kawu, you posted on your Facebook page about the budget padding. Just tell us whether the Facebook page address us so that we know whether your listing was hacked or not.
Mr. President, my dear distinguished colleagues, I am Suleiman Ibrahim Kawu Sumaila, representing Kano South Senatorial District, NNPP from Kano. Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, very sorry, I heard what our colleague Senator Solomon Adiola present in his motion. Quite all right, Mr. President, I was in that meeting in your house, and we all agree that we will not in any way grant an interview or engage anybody on this issue. You promise to look into it. To the extent you ask Chief Whip of the Senate, who happened to be Deputy Chairman of Appropriation, whether he has knowledge on what is going on in the budget, and he responded to you that negatively, that no. Therefore, I quite agree and affirm that position. And from that time up to today, there was no time I granted an interview with anybody. All what happened, sir, is that after we left your house, I had in the morning the interview of Senator Abdul Ningi. I read it, I listened to it attentively. I realized that he granted the interview before our meeting. Even in that case, it is not what we agree in our last meeting, that we are not going to press. In the afternoon, there was a first at so many platforms, which I posted it to our Northern Senators Forum. Northern Senators Forum. There was no place and nobody hacked my account, and I stand to be corrected. Nobody hacked my account, and I am not in agreement with what my brother Solomon presented to this Senate. It is total lie. I am not party of it. If for any reason what I forced to the Senate, our Northern Senators Forum, as a member of that forum, and it is exclusively for our own consumption. My intention is to call the attention of our brothers that see what is going on and see what people are saying. I am very busy during the weekend because of Ramadan, but there was no time I granted an interview. On my way to Kano, Senator Tambuwal called me, directed me, not even as my colleague, but as my big brother, that you must make sure don't even in any way granted an interview with anybody on this issue. Senator Barrow too, before I enter Kano, he do the same to me. And throughout from Friday up to yesterday, I am busy in my constituency attending my routine tafsir. Secondly, sir, with due to respect to our colleagues, we are not in any way intend to undermine either the President, Senate President, or the Senate. We are matured enough. We know this business. We all agree that we are leaders. And we understand, or we understood, our constitutional responsibility. One of it is oversight. Constitutionally, we must make sure that there is scrutiny on whatever is going in related to federal government expenditure. Mr. President, with due respect to our colleague, how many of us has time to go through this budget? How many of us? I have some items here in the budget, sir. No, I just want to draw our attention. 36 items ranging to 57 billion naira without location. Let me tell you the last one. You will understand what we are complaining, and you will understand our appealing. And Mr. President, sir, you agree with us that most of what happened during the budget, you are, for example, number 36, ERGP 2021-29.
Senator Kawu, Please, I withdraw your protection. I will explain something to you. We are trying to remain one Senate. You have not denied the post that you made. Distinguished Senator Olamilekon, do you have the post that you made? Yes. Can you read it out? Yes. No, it's important because he's saying he stands by his post. Please, can you number? You are not hearing me. You are not hearing me. I said, wait, Senator Kawu, I want you to, okay, since you don't have it, Senator Olamilekon, you are the mover of the motion. Okay, Senator Joel, Onawapu, can you read what Senator Kawu posted? No, I want him to read it again because you are not interested. Okay, so use your mic and read out what you posted.
Okay. He said I should do something, that's I got up.
I am not the originator and I am not the maker of this. I am not the maker. I am not the maker.
Distinguished Senator Kawu, on the Northern Senators Forum, you made a post which was supposed to be part of the transcription of Senator Ningi's interview. I'm coming. I want you to, because you also listened to the interview, we have the full version of the interview on the, before, this Senate leader, what is necessary is that we must all be given the opportunity. This is democracy. Nobody must be shot. Nobody's mouth must be shut. This is democracy. Everybody has a right to express himself, and you also have a right to get to the bottom of this. Now, please read what you reposted or posted. Please read. Please read what you posted.
I just saw it in circulation and I posted it to our platform, which is exclusively for the Northern Senators Forum. Breaking. For the first time in Nigeria history, today we are operating two different budgets. One budget approved by National Assembly, signed by Mr. President Bola Tinubu, and the one implemented by Presidency. The one approved by us is 25 trillion, while one operating by federal government is 28 trillion. Apparently, we discovered 3 trillion was inserted into the budget without allocation. This is the highest budget funding happened in Nigerian history under Senator Akpabio watch. We resolve as people representative to see Mr. President on this issue. Which fact and figure to ask him, if he is aware with this embarrassment or not. Then from there we will take action. Let Nigeria be patient with us. This is national issue. It affects all Nigerians irrespective of party, tribe or religion. Senator Abdul Ningi, Chairman, Senators Northern Senators Forum, BBC Hausa, Saturday 9 March 2024.
Now, please be seated. What you have read there, that the federal government is operating two budgets, 25 trillion or 28 point something trillion, as distinct from what the Senate passed. I just want to ask you a simple question. As a member of the Senate, I don't know whether you are also a member of the appropriation committee. Did the Senate pass 25 trillion?
The Senate passed 28 trillion.
your honesty is appreciated. But what was reposted or posted by you on the Northern Senators Forum is that for the first time in Nigeria's history, we have the highest budget padding, and that the Senate passed 25 trillion, while the federal government is operating 28 trillion. You see, in a tense atmosphere like Nigeria, coming from distinguished senators, reposted by distinguished senators, posted by distinguished senators, originated or otherwise, that post even mentions Senator Ningi as chairman of Nigerian Northern Senators Forum. And you, knowing that that post was injurious to the reputation of the National Assembly, you have been a member of the National Assembly in the House of Reps. You've also been a liaison officer. By the grace of God, today you are a senator. Do you think that reposting falsehood to tarnish the image of the National Assembly is the right thing for a distinguished senator to do?
It is not, but Mr. President, it is exclusively to Northern Senators Forum to draw their attention, on what is going on. I can't do it.
Now, distinguished colleagues, distinguished colleagues, Senator Kawu has made mention of the fact that the post was not meant for the public, it was meant for Northern senators, for them to know exclusively what was happening in the country, the operation of two budgets. It still brings us back to the fact that are we right or are we wrong? Distinguished Senate President, you are a member of Northern Senators Forum. Do you agree with this post that was meant for you and for you alone?
Well, what happened is quite unfortunate. I don't agree with it, but what happened is quite unfortunate because, like you said, Abdul Ningi is one of the most respected senators here. And we had the cause quite okay, as said by speakers, who spoke before me, that he approached us about his observations within the budget. And a meeting was held. For the purpose of emphasis, it was held in your guest house, together with the likes of Senator Lalong, Senator Sani Musa, and the rest. And we all agreed that, look, yes, we are all humans, assuming, but not agreeing that there were mistakes. If you have anything, bring that forward. Bring that forward. When you bring them forward, we will now sit down in a tripartite fashion, because the budget process is an inclusive process, including the Senate, the House of Reps, and the executive. We then call the House side, call the executive side. Let's sit down. These are the observations we've seen. And how do we correct them? If at all there are genuine observations. And I told him, look, we've had this kind of situation before. I told Sani Musa where he was in the 8th Senate. We had similar situation, 9th Senate. Someone brought up certain things that felt, okay, we'll look at that. And then later, we found out there was nothing. And then we said, look, we even have a clause in the Appropriation Act, the corrigendum clause, that can be used to correct human errors, if any. That, okay, let's keep this something until we are able to have these observations made. And because before then he raised 3 issues. That number one, they had wanted to go and go to the press. They wanted to go and see Mr. President. I said, thank you that we didn't do that, because these are things within the realm of observations. Probably if experts see those things, we'll be able to sort out whatever misunderstanding, if any, within what you're able to put forward. So it's quite unfortunate that this came out, in the press. But like you said, he didn't say anything. What he did was to make that post, because I spoke to him, like he said. I called him. I said, I saw what is happening, but don't make any comment. Do not make any. That's after the interview. So don't make. He didn't make any comment, but he He posted. After I saw the posting, I called him. I said, please don't. Our agreement is that we shouldn't see anything. Let's not put the cart before the horse. So, and he agreed. He didn't make any statement thereafter. Only the posting that he made. Yes, I agree that the posting was not quite proper. It's not good for a posting to be made, considering the fact that we have all agreed. But he didn't make any statement outside. And even yesterday I called him. I said, look, why is this thing going on? He said, yes. But did you hear me say it outside? That all I did is just what he repeated here, that he only posted in a platform for us to know what is happening, but he didn't make any statement outside. That's it. That Ningi granted an interview, that he wanted to tell us, look at what we discussed, but look at what Ningi has done. So that's why he sent it, because he told me that the meeting was not only for the leadership. Other senators were around. So he couldn't call everyone to say this is what Ningi has done. So that's why I decided to post it on that platform for us to see, because so many of us were there. So that's what, even yesterday I spent about an hour talking to him. He said he will not make any statement. He has agreed, he's a gentleman, he's a senator, he will not do that. So this is the reason that he gave. I shall submit.
You attended a meeting in the guest house that I attended. Senator Ningi said that he has made some discoveries through consultants, different from what he partook as a member of the appropriation committee, as a senator, and as a member of the Senate during plenary that passed the budget. Now, he promised to make available those observations to the Senate President and to yourself. Has he made those observations available to you?
He has not. And to be fair to Kau, he called me and said, look, this is what we agreed to, but look at what Ningi did. That's what he told me.
Okay. I think the civil senator Jimo Ibrahim. The civil senator Jimo Ibrahim. The civil senator Jimo Ibrahim.
Please, I have the floor, please. Mr. Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, my distinguished colleagues, my name is Jimo Ibrahim. I represent Ondo South Senatorial District. Mr. Senate President, everything can go wrong, but one thing must not go wrong. Only one thing: the law. And the prophecy of what anybody will do is in the law. And the law in issue is the Appropriation Act of the National Assembly, which has casted doubt in the integrity of Nigeria. The painful thing of all this story and the narrative is the fact that tomorrow the federal government want to go out there to borrow money to develop Nigeria economy. Just Google it, and you will see you have two budgets. The lender will ask a simple question: where are you putting this fund? The first budget or the second budget? This has happened to me before. So, Mr. President, we are sitting here today to make regulations to ensure that the integrity of the federal government is not in doubt. I don't want to talk about the integrity of the Senate, in which you are privileged to preside. As Senate President of Nigeria, by March 23rd, remember, you'll be going to address the General Assembly of United Nations in Geneva. The question will be put onto you, and you can put me on notice, that Mr. Nigeria Senate President, you passed two laws in respect of your budget. Which of the laws are we here to look at? Now, having said that, my own contribution to this debate is that we should go straight into the prayers. The motion is on the floor. We need to look at the prayers
And if we need to add additional prayer, so be it. And then we'll be able to close this matter. Because if we don't go into the prayers and discuss it, the motion makes no meaning. A motion is before, by law, by instrument of law, by our practice and procedure here. That motion will be concluded by looking to the prayers. What are we, I know I appreciate the fact that you want fair hearing. I agree with that. There should be fair hearing. Distinguished Senator Ningi has also spoken extensively. But the key point is that Senator Yayi has brought a motion before us. And there are prayers there. Let's go into that prayers and let us see which of the prayers we are passing in the plenaries. And this is very important. This is fundamental, because as we sit here, our children are looking at the procedure and the processes that we are making two laws at the same time on the same issue. And that is not acceptable. So to me, Mr. Senate President, I think the right thing to do right now is to go into the prayers. If you are generously comfortable to listen to more debates, fantastic. But we keep repeating ourselves about the pains of lying, about the pains of economizing lies and truth. So we should go into the prayers. I so advise, Mr. Senate President, and my very distinguished colleagues, let's go into the prayers, and so that we can go. It's already 2:24. Are we going to sleep here? Let's go into the prayers and do additional prayers and move on.
Mike, the Chief Whip of the Senate.
Distinguished colleagues, I am Mohammed Ali Ndume, representing Borno South. I have listened. Most of us have spoken. I don't need to remind us that we are senators. I don't need to also remind us that we are here as brothers and member of the highest body, that's the Senate. We are here having in mind also that we can disagree, but to agree. In fact, it is common in legislation to even go to the extreme, throwing chairs because tempers rise. But when it comes to the totality of the image of the Senate, we should be careful. It is not about Ningi now only. If we are talking about Ningi in this room, but it is about all of us outside. This thing has happened. It has happened. And Ningi was wrong. It was wrong. In the first instance, if you all remember, this thing reared its heads before. When, after presentation of the budget, there were allegations from the North that it was skewed in favor of the South. And a figure was even posted on our platform, the Northern Senators Forum, by Wadada, and I spoke to him this morning. The total capital in there was 8.9 or thereabout, but the total of the said skewedness total to 15 trillion. And I told them, from the word go, this thing is wrong. So it died down. When we engaged the senators, the consultant, it was agreed by the Northern Senators, quite okay. And after that, Kau and Ningi approached me and told me that there are certain things in the budget that were not right. I said, bring it. They said, no, they are going to talk to Senate President, and I should be there. I said, no. If you are sure that the North has been so changed, put the figures down and let's go public. But that was not there. Wait. When you are speaking, I did not interfere. It's so simple now. My chairman wanted to go out yesterday. My chairman wanted to go out
Yesterday he called me. We are doing a press conference. I said, on what? He said, on this budget. I said, did you get the details that they are talking about? You said no. I begged you not to talk. That we are coming here today, get ready with your papers and put it before our colleagues. He did a wonderful job by even tracing where the so-called 3 trillion has gone. What I'm expecting from us, please, is to move forward. And how do we move forward? I told Ningi in here that he made a mistake, that he should stand up and apologize to us first, then apologize that, look, this even figure that I'm looking for 3 trillion is here. I'm sorry for the embarrassment I've called. That is what I'm suggesting. Please, distinguished colleagues, some of us, or majority of us are here new, as we said. Okay. Yeah, it's not new because you are 10 months old or more. All I'm saying, look, if I don't forget that I'm the chief whip, I'll carry whip now. Okay. Why are you not smiling now? I know this is a serious matter, but we have gotten to it. Had it been what Ningi said, it's not even traceable. But it's clear here that the 3 trillion, if you add it up, is there, and you put it by 25, it gives us the figure. So let us go and tell everybody that, look, 3 trillion is not missing. And Ningi should apologize. Ningi has agreed to apologize. I approached you, and I said, Ningi will apologize. You said, if he apologizes, he's ready to apologize.
Distinguished colleagues, leader, you end the debate because please, there is no need for us to talk further. Let us just hear from my brother Adams Oshimole, then leader will speak.
Mr. Senate President and my colleague senators, I have listened attentively. My name is Adams Aliu Oshimole. I represent the great people of Edo North in Edo State. And the only thing that I use to campaign to get to this house is my name, my pedigree, and my integrity. Some may have gotten here because they had resources. I got here because I had made a name. I came here hoping to build on that name, not to diminish it, not to distort it, and not to do anything that would be unexpected of somebody of my background. Number two, sir, I am a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I am not a senator of the North, nor am I a senator of the South. I am a Nigeria senator. These rules we agreed on in the first 2-3 sittings, that we will operate irrespective of accident or birthplace, and even the factor of religion or any of those primordial sentiments. Because that is the only way as senior, as a privileged Nigerians who sit on this Senate. I don't know anyone here who started this work on the floor of this Senate. We all have our various backgrounds, which our people must have seen and found us worthy of being elected. I want to plead that we must recognize we have a duty to uphold the finest standard of a legislature and defend the integrity of each and every one of us. As I listen to your prayers every day, Mr. Senate President, we talk about showing love to one another, doing those things that will promote the peace, happiness, and unity of our great country. And yet, I am here wondering whether we have exactly come here to do everything that will promote hatred, everything that will promote division, everything that will remind me of my accident or bad play for which I had no vote, I had no contribution. That was the exclusive decision of the God Almighty. It should neither be used to favor me, nor should it be used to disfavor me. So I ask her that after listening to everything, my plea is this. We've already been stripped naked in the market. And closing the door or opening the windows, we cannot now wrap it as if it has not been seen. The minimum requirement is for my brother, who I respect very much on account of being vocal. I like vocal people. He has energy. I don't have enough energy. But I have seen him make very valuable contributions in the past on the floor of the Senate. And I think he can still remedy that, having agreed that some things went wrong. Because the question you have put, Mr. President, is how much, what was the figure in the bill, in the appropriation bill that was approved? And somebody answered 28 trillion. Therefore, any suggestion that it was 25 is simply a lie. The problem of trying to defend one lie is that you have to speak to more lies in order to protect and defend one lie. I think will be Senator Ningi, who I respect a lot, has a duty even to his own children, that he will not be the man who will be reported in the front pages of newspapers and electronic media all over the world and say something that he found out is not true. There is nothing wrong in making a mistake, but become a problem when you are not able to find the courage to own up to your mistake. Particularly when in terms of balance of interest, you rather clean up what is dirty than to pretend that it is clean. So I want to plead to each and every one of us that let's allow Ningi, having now read everything, and even my comrade, Senator Kau, who posted something, he said it was for northern governors, even northern senators. Even he knows that northern senators deserve to be told the truth. Northern senators did not form association for the spreading of falsehood. It is meant to promote the unity of the North and justice and fairness, which can only be founded on the basis of facts and truth. So if all of these errors have taken place and all of us have become suspect in the Nigerian bar of public opinion, the way to go, in my view, is for both of them to recount what they have said and to say that they didn't say so, or if they said so, that they made the mistake of the head, not of the heart, and ask that they be forgiven. Because it is already in the market. You can't pretend it never happened. I associated myself completely with the very, very valuable and articulate presentation of Senator Sani, I believe, of Niger State, and several other very valuable contributions. But let us remember, each time we try to destroy any one of us, we are destroying all of us. Because if one lacks integrity, and we are found to associate with anyone who lacks integrity, they say it is birds of the same feathers that flock together. May that not be our portion. Mr. Senate President, this matter needs to be treated in a manner that will restore the confidence of the Nigerian people in the institution of the National Assembly. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Karimi.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for your distinguished service to the nation. My colleagues, what is important here is our integrity as a whole. what has been established here is the fact that the so-called 3 trillion pardon is a lie. 2, the appropriation made this year, where those items on statutory transfers were not included, is not different from what has been happening for years. That is the standard that will make our budget. So all the information that is being passed around was misinformation by Senator Ningi and Senator Kau. So we have to establish that one before we can move forward. And they have to own up to their mistakes.
The Senior Senator Oba.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Senator Ibrahim Oba. President, what we are battling with is the soul of this Senate. And I think it's very, very important. We have had different colleagues pleading that we should, that they have considered to apologize. But even in that apology, Mr. President, I believe after meeting you during the last meeting you had with them, they would have come to you in agreement of what you had reached with them, present their facts before you before going to the press. I think there should be, we will need to look at the prayers, because if we continue to go to the press and try to create ethnic sentiments in this country, it will continue. With this Senate will never be won. So I think we should go to the prayers, Mr. President, so that we don't overlook this issue. Let's go to the prayers, Mr. President.
Senator Akwashiki, after that, the leader, then we close.
Mr. Chairman, my very distinguished colleagues, I remain Senator Akwashiki Godia, representing Nasarawa North Central District. Mr. Chairman, I think to some extent, we don't need to waste time on this issue. Yes, I've agreed. A lot of things went wrong. Even that meeting that you made the Northern Senators, I was not there. And our God knows here in this place, I have the chairman of the Northern Governors, Northern Senators. I said you had a meeting with the President of the Senate yesterday. I was not invited. And he apologized to me that next time you're going to be invited. And you see, let me correct something here. That most of us, including both Kau and Ningi, they are ranking parliaments. They came through the House of Reps. Parliamentarian, yes. It's my Kau said he was not the person that constructed that statement. I agree with him in totality. But I read the statement in the platform of the Northern Senators. And to some extent, knowing fully when you go through the text or the statement, you won't know whether it is not constructed by Senator Kau or not. Because he will have posted it with a caveat to us, the Northern Senators, that be aware or be informed, this is not from me. It's the handwork of mischief makers. One, because I was going through it and I deliberately refused to say anything on this issue because I didn't know what is happening and I was not part of that meeting with you. One, on that issue, because he is a leader. Two, Mr. Chairman, sir, a lot of people have spoken. Even though the Chief Whip has said that he has spoken on personal ground with Senator
Ningi, and he also spoke to Kawo. Okay, he has not spoken to Ningi. Ningi is the chief actor of what we are discussing today. Ningi wanted to open some close again on the issue, but we should allow him, give him a time to speak again instead of going forward and coming backward. He is sitting here in the plenary with us. Mr. Chairman, sir, why I am saying this? Because Ningi also, he has not denied the issue that you are in agreement for him to submit whatever he has to you as a leader, so that you should look into it and take an appropriate decision. Because he has not done that, that is why we have found ourselves where we are today. What is the next thing? The next thing is to give him, even if just 2 minutes to speak, and our leader, the minority leader of this Senate, who is Abba Moro. Abba Moro is our leader of all of us that are sitting here. He has spoken on behalf of us. He requests for one thing, that we should give them time to speak. Abba Moro has spoken, and since he sat down, and I can see the mood of even our colleagues, when he spoke on behalf of us, I think, Mr. Chairman, give them the opportunity in line with the request of the minority leader, our leader. Even though somebody said, have asked one of them that they didn't, we voted them. Like me, I'm a ranking senator, I signed for them. So they are our leaders. He has spoken on behalf of us. Please, Mr. Chairman, for us to move forward, we were almost 3 the whole day. Give them the opportunity to speak to us again. Even if it means a motion, on top of motion, because we are wasting our time, please, let them speak. They are sitting on the plenary here. And you can see our brother, Senator Ningi, he has always been quiet for the past 1 hour. Let's hear from him, Mr. Chairman, so that this matter, it is, somebody say it's Ningi today. It can be another person tomorrow, please, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Let me say that we have succeeded. If you look at the number of hands up, there are no longer many. So I think we have exhausted the issues, and we have done well. My personal opinion is, who is the secretary of the Northern Senators Forum? Sadiq, I've not heard your voice, because if your forum is used to posting things that will incite senators inside Nigeria, no, you are not the only one that has access to that forum. Even non-senators read what you post, and you can see Premium Times quoted you copiously from what they saw there, and many of them, some of them are saying Akpabio in the worst scandal, Tinubu operating 2 budgets, all sorts of things, and it's from there. So, and then Senator Ndume has also pointed out that that is not even the first time. That there was a time that Senator Wadada said the North has been cheated, and then pointed out a budget of 8.9 trillion, or is it billion? Trillion, and said that out of 8.9 trillion, out of 15 trillion, that yes, that out of
I said this, distinguished colleagues, you remember, in a closed session here last time when the budget was brought, and there was this also figures flying around that North has been so changed. Out of the 15 trillion capital, only 2 point something was for the North. So it was posted on our platform equally, just for information. And I called our dad at that time, and I said, do the arithmetic. You will discover that the budget submitted by Mr. President has 8.9 trillion as the total capital. And then you say now that 15 trillion is in the capital. How does it add up? That was why Wadada pulled down that posting, and the matter died down. So this one too should be buried like that.
Sadiq, maybe you will just say something on to the next post, because the other one was 15 trillion Senator Walada was 15 trillion, and quickly Senator Ndume corrected him that only 8 trillion was actually capital, not 15 trillion. And he pulled it down. So otherwise, it would have been reposted and reposted and reposted, and it will get into the ears of the market people in the north. And they will think that they are being cheated. Now, as secretary of the forum, maybe you are not the administrator of that thing. What is your take on all these discussions?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, sitting as chair. Let me make some categorical statements so that to put the record straight. The Northern Senators Forum is just basically an interest group. And in political system, everybody forms a forum with specific interest group. That interest group is not supposed to be purely political. It has economic perspective, it has cultural perspective. Mr. President, recall that when we visited you in the guest house, after I gave my vote of thanks, I categorically told you that as a scientist, I know how data can be interpreted vertically, horizontally, diagonally, based on the inference or interest of the researcher. That interpretation too can be influenced by availability, completeness or incompleteness of data. And I recommended that you get a contractor, like you said you wanted to get, a consultant. I told you that you need to get a consultant to look at this properly when it is given to you. Mr. President, for the records, because we are saying Northern Senator, I am the Secretary of Northern Senators. This data and this information are not privy to read, just like almost all Northern Senators. And I think Senator Ningi was clear about that, both in your presence and even in this floor. He has not pretended about that we don't know what is the issues here. And to me, we said, Mr. President, let's get this information, clarify it before we embarrass the Senate, the National Assembly, or the country. Mr. President, Senator Kau said something, and it's important. It seems we missed it. There was a mix-up. He is saying that that interview granted by Senator Ningi invariably came even before this process started. Okay, no, he said that, no, okay, fine. It's not true. Okay, fine. Mr. President, my point clearly is that, Chief Whip, can you please control the floor for us, please? Mr. President, our position is very clear in the forum that the data, that information is not available for us yet to be able to take any position. Mr. President, the interview granted by Senator Ningi is his personal opinion. I just want to make that clear here. It's not the position of Northern Senators. Lastly, Mr. President, to me, as a citizen of this country and as a Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, what is important to me in all of this rancor is to clarify and come out transparently and strongly, particularly this being led by those who allege that the budget the National Assembly passed is 28.7 trillion and not 25 trillion, so that the whole world, the whole country will see clearly that there is an error somewhere. It's as a result of lack of enough data available to those who are analyzing that situation has been made. Mr. President, lastly, why I was worried about this is I know that people will think Nigeria is a weak country. Nigeria is a strong country. We say our institutions are weak. Our institutions are not as weak as a budget will be passed and we'll be operating a different budget. Nigeria is too strong. Nigeria is too strong for that. And it's very important the whole world knows that that is not going to be possible in this country. Thank you very much.
Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, very distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. Chairman, for the very first time, I stand up to speak not as the leader of the 10th Senate, but as Senator Michael Okpeyemi Bamidele, CON, representing the people of Ekiti Central Senatorial District. 4 quick issues to raise. Number one, I stand with due respect to say that what my big brother, distinguished Senator Abdul Ningi, who I respect so well, planned to do or set out to do was tantamount to a civilian coup, which has failed. And in doing this, he wanted to use the platform of Northern Senators Forum. God bless all those who have dissociated themselves as members of Northern Senators Forum. Number 2, I pay glowing tribute to His Excellency Senator Tambua, Aminu Wasir Tambua, and to His Excellency Senator Ahmad Lawa. Why am I doing this? They had very peaceful tenure, and I was one of those instrumental. I'm also speaking as a Southerner for the first time. The attempt to take the election of the leadership of this Senate beyond June 13, 2023 must stop. 60-something senators voted for Godswill Akpabio. 40-something senators voted against Godwin Akpabio. The will of the majority. Every day, there have been a few, just a few. And that's one of the reasons I will pay tribute to Senator Tambua. He didn't pretend about where he stood. But after that, some of them got up on the floor of this Senate and said, election is over. Let's work together as senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. A few have refused to do this. And that's why it's always about Akpabio, never about the Senate, never about the House of Reps, never about the Office of DG Budget. All of us pass this budget. Never about Mr. President who signed this budget. It's always about Akpabio. We have a momentum. This is a defining moment for all of us to say, if we are going to have a stable Senate, let us have one. It is not about North and South. It's about our rules. It's about the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It's about people who are hungry and deprived. Mr. President, sitting as chair, make no mistake about it. A few people who fear they will not give you more than 1 year to spend in this chair want to do everything possible before the 13th of June to remove you. And I am telling you, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, distinguished colleagues, and that's why I say I'm speaking as Senator Michael Okpeyemi Bamidele, not as the Senate leader. As the Senate leader, I've always done everything possible to stabilize this Senate. I'm speaking, I'm exercising my own privilege as a senator. Now I am telling you, sir. I am telling you, sir. And I want Nigerians to know, I say it for history. The last time the people of South that you represent had a chance to be Senate President was over 40 years ago. The last time the entire people of the South had a chance to be Senate President was during Obasanjo regime, when he went to the Southeast. 5 people were elected because they were impeached in quick succession. But as soon as he left the South, we had peace and stability again because we will always cooperate. David Mark spent 8 years. Senator Ahmad Lawa spent 4 years. Peaceful 4 years. Saraki, even with all he did, spent 4 years. He was not impeached. It is about Akpabio. It is about the South. You can now understand why Senator Ningi, we want to use the name of Northern Senators Forum, even when most of them did not agree to this. Mr. President, I plead plead with you. This is an opportunity for us to follow our rules. If tomorrow the wisdom of the elders of this Senate prevail and they feel we should do otherwise, let's lock ourselves up in a closed-door session and take another decision and go back to the world and reconsider ourselves on whatever decision we take today. I beg all of you, we must do the right thing today. We did not start this fight. Senator Ningi took this to the public domain, standing up to apologize here. Even after he repeated that some people got 100 billion from this budget, some people got 60 billion. Haba, what apology are you expecting? Let us do the right thing, and I am saying it as part of the leadership of this Senate. I am not bothered. I was going through online, just as this is going on, it's trending now, that every senator got 500 million. My appeal to Nigerians is not about what was said there today, because I'm not going to deny that. But we have 12 months to implement 2024 budget. Let every Nigerian wait to see whether there is any of these senators who will not bring enough boreholes, enough solar street lights, enough road construction, and other projects, training and empowerment that will be up to 500 million naira. That is it. I am not protesting. If I got anything here, it is not money put in my pocket. They are constituency projects given to my constituency. And I'm not apologetic about it. Mr. President, please let us go into the prayers and do the right thing.
Prayer 1. Distinguished colleagues, Prayer 1. Pursuant to Order 1B of the Senate Standing Order 2023 as amended, allow immediate deliberations of this matter and take appropriate action deemed fit in the overriding public interest and as a matter of urgent public importance to prevent breakdown of law and order. I think this has been taken. Those in support of Prayer 1 say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. That has been taken. Prayer 2. Take further necessary steps to correct the wrong impression in public domain of the 2024 budget created by the BBC interview and other national media houses and social media platforms by Senator Abdul Ningi and amplified by Senator Suleiman Abdulrahman Kawu through his post on Northern Senators Forum, his Facebook account, and other social media platforms. Those in support of Prayer 2 say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3. Take any further decision as the Senate deems fit and proper to safeguard the integrity of the 2024 budget, which is pivotal to the revamping of the Nigerian economy. Yes, Senator Jimo.
President, my distinguished colleague, I have an additional prayer to add at its appropriate time since we are now praying. The last one. Okay, I could allow the last one to go before I allow the Senate President to rule, please. Yeah. Yes. Yes, sir. I stand by that.
Okay. So that prayer 3. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes, Senator Jimo, you can now come with your additional prayer.
Distinguished colleagues, my additional prayer after we're trying to distill all our discussions in these hello chambers into this additional prayer by way of sanction. Suspend Senator Abu Ningi and suspend Senator Abu Ningi for an initial period of 12 months. 12 months, yes, including his entitlement and privilege as Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria of the 10th Senate, and made him to stay away from the National Assembly for the suspended period. 2, the Senate should send a warning letter to Senator Suleiman Abdulrahman Kawu, and this should be warned to stop posting, inciting informations that are not right, and then they should tender apology he should stop posting all those informations with a way of distorting facts. Mr. Senate President, I so move on these two additional prayers because we cannot. I have the floor, please. I have the floor. I have the floor. It's these two important prayers are very important because we have to look at our rules. There are issues of ethics procedures and as well as what we have been discussing since morning. So for purpose of clarity, Mr. Senate President, my first prayer is that the Senate should suspend Senator Ningi for an initial period of 12 months. Suspend his entitlement and privileges as Senator of the 10th Assembly or 10th Senate, make him stay away from the National Assembly during the period of suspension. Secondly, the Senate or this Senate should send a note of warning to Senator Suleiman Abdulrahman Kau and make him to apologize for posting inciting statements about the Appropriation Act in his Facebook. These are my additional prayer. I so move, Mr. Senate. I so move, Mr. Senate.
Point of order.
The distinguished Senator Ibrahim has moved a motion that in view of the foregone, all the discussions we have had here in the Senate and the events, the public outlook, that the distinguished Senator Abdul Ningi should be suspended for a period of 12 months, and I would like to, Senator Davidone.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion raised by distinguished Senator Ibrahim.
Order! You go ahead and second the motion.
The motion can be amended, but let it be read. Mr. President, I require your protection, sir. Mr. President, distinguished. My campaign was. President, somebody keeps. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to say. Mr. President, somebody keeps stripping it. I rise to second. Suspension Abdul Ningi and for a warning to be given to distinguished Senator Kau. And I do so, sir, with the full recognition that despite the ample opportunities to provide evidence to this House, no single shred of evidence has been provided. And on the back also, sir, of the opportunities to apologize to this House, given the gravity of the allegations made, we are yet to receive a single apology from either of the gentlemen. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, we have a motion on the floor. We have a motion on the floor which has been seconded. Is there any amendment? Is there any amendment? Is there any amendment? Distinguished Senator Mangunu, amendment. Distinguished Senator Mangunu wants to amend the motion.
Yes, distinguished Mr. President of the Senate, Mr. President of the Senate, Mr. President of the Senate, distinguished senators, in my amendment, I want to invoke Order 95, Rule 4C. In my amendment, I want to invoke Order 95, Rule 4C. And Order 95, Rule 4C unequivocally states that the powers of the Committee on Petition, Ethics, and Privileges of the Senate is to investigate misconduct of senators where there is alleged misconduct of senators where there is. So I want to invoke Order 95 Rule 4C for it to be referred to the Ethics and Privileges Committee for investigation and report to the Senate.
Okay, no, yeah, please, dismiss Senator, if I think you have spoken before. Senator Asukwa, you have not said anything. You are raising your hand. Is it for amendment of the prayer? Yes, Asukwa.
The microphone. Good afternoon, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Senator Asukwa Ekpeyon, Senator representing Cross River South. I would like to amend the prayer as moved by Senator Jimo Ibrahim. I amend that the suspension period be reduced to 6 months. I so move.
Any seconder? Yes, Senator Mbeki.
Thank you, Mr. President. I remain Nkigi Barinaka. I represent the people of River South East Senatorial District. Mr. President, I support wholeheartedly the amendment as duly moved by Senator Ekpeyon that the suspension period be reduced to 6 months. I so second.
Further amendment.
Mr. President, distinguished colleague, Buhari Abdul Fattah Oyonot. Mr. President, my amendment is we should be cautious and reduce whatever punitive measure we are going to take. Let's learn from it. There's this popular Yoruba adage, when an elder falls, you look at the back, what falls, and when a child falls, you look at the front. And I'm just amending that even we should allow Senator Ningi and Senator Kawu to even say that, sorry, let's give them that privilege. When we give them that privilege, and the Senate now decided, to even take a punitive measure, we can reduce it to 3 months, which is okay, so that other people can learn from it, so that to serve as a detriment. 3 months. 3 months. But for us to say 6 months, 1 year, let's forget, they are representing a senatorial. People are watching them. So 3 months. 3 months.
Yes. Distinguished Senator Garuba.
Mike.
Thank you, Mr. President.
No, it's me.
No, it's me. It's me.
Go ahead now.
Him or me?
Please sit down. Please sit down. It's me.
Thank you. The Senate President sitting in as chair. My name is Garba Musa Maidoki. It's on. My name is Garba Musa Maidoki, representing Kebbi South Senatorial District, sir. Mr. President, having heard that most of what was said was erroneously transcribed to the press without following the agreed position with the Senate President so that report can be given to them, my amended prayer is the suspension of Mr. Senator Ningi. My prayer is the suspension of Senator Ningi for 3 months, but if he writes an apology to the Senate the following day, he should be recalled. That is my prayer, sir.
Any seconder? Chief Whip, this is you are talking too much. You are talking too much. Sorry, Musa.
Mr. President, sitting as the chair, my respected colleagues, my name is Mohammed Sani Musa, representing Niger East Senatorial District. I stand to second the amendment as proposed by Senator Maidoki that instead of suspending Senator Ningi to 12 months or 6 months, we should give him 3 months and also allow him to apologize to this Senate and put it in writing as well. And if he does that and we consider that there is a remorse, this Senate have every right to call him back as soon as we feel them. So I so moved. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, I'm aware of the standing order 66 sub 4 that talks about 14 legislative days if a misdemeanor is committed in the Senate, not in BBC. So I'm just trying to say that I'm mindful of the rules of the Senate. Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved that in view of the grievous offense of Senator Ningi, that he be suspended. Those in support of 1 year suspension. Okay. Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved by an amendment has been offered by distinguished Senator Maidoki and seconded by distinguished Senator Sani Musa that he be suspended for only 3 months from the Senate. Those in support of the suspension for 3 months say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So distinguished Senator Ningi is hereby suspended for 3 months from all activities connected with the 10th Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, distinguished colleagues, I stand to move that the Senate reverse to plenary to enable the chair report progress. I so move.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, I second the motion that Chairman, the Senate reverse to plenary to enable the chair report progress. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, a motion has been moved and seconded that this Senate do refer to plenary to report progress. Those who are in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. Yeah, clarification, yes.
One clarification, Mr. President. Senator Jaribi made mention of 500 million. I think we should give him a chance to specify. No, it's good. Let him explain. Let him explain. Let me say what.
The Senate also, in the committee of the whole, agreed that where the Senate Senator Abdul Ningi shows remorse in writing through apology to the Senate, that such should be deliberated and decision should be taken by the Senate if such occurs. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the committee of the whole? Yes. Senate Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President, and very distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. President, I rise to move that we step down all the other items on the other paper today to enable us close so that our colleagues can go and attend to other legislative duties at the committee level. I so move, Mr. President.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion moved by the Senate leader that in view of the mood of the Senate, that will step down all other matters on the other paper to the next legislative day. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, a motion has been moved and seconded that this Senate do step down all other items on the other paper to enable colleagues to attend to committee meetings and other sundry matters. Those in support of this motion as moved and seconded say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, having exhausted the items on the other paper, this Senate stands adjourned to the 13th day of March 2024, being a Wednesday at 11 a.m. prompt.